In western West Virginia, a large, imposing building sits overlooking this quaint mountain community. Situated on 26 acres, this massive structure dominates the landscape and stands as an ominous reminder to the treatment of the mentally ill in the early 1900s. Holding the designation as the longest hand-cut stone building in North America and opening its doors to patients in 1864, the Weston State Hospital, later called the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, was built on the philosophy of Thomas Kirkbride. Its layout mirrored the Kirkbride plan, which called for long buildings with multiple wings to provide ample sunlight, air, and comfortable living accommodations for patients in an attempt to cure mental illness. Friends with the mental health advocate Dorothea Dix, Kirkbride followed the motto of, "There is no reason why an individual who has had the misfortune of becoming insane should, on that account, be deprived of any comfort or even luxury." Therefore, the Weston State Hospital was built with the highest luxury accommodations of the time, with an occupancy level of 250 patients. The staff was trained to the highest standards of the time, and the hospital opened to receive men, women, and children. However, due to the extensive reasons behind which a person could be admitted into the hospital, overcrowding began to take its toll. Additionally, medical practices of the time led way to treatments being performed on patients such as hydrotherapy, shock therapy, and even lobotomies. The original philosophies of Kirkbride grew more into containment of patients rather than assisting them, as the population of the hospital ballooned from 250 to 2,500 by the 1950s. Within the walls that were constructed to provide a calm and therapeutic atmosphere, behaviors such as patients attacking and in some cases killing each other and staff members started occurring. Also, staff treatment toward patients became violent and torturous in nature. Over time, belief in the Kirkbride plan and the curability of mental illness began to decline. And due to overcrowding and state budget cuts, the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was officially closed in 1994. However, the building, whose walls bore witness to regression from patient care to patient torment, is now believed to be haunted by those same tortured spirits. It is due to this claim that the investigators of Soul Sisters Paranormal traveled to West Virginia to determine for ourselves if the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum really is haunted. Would you like us to put the balloon in the windowsill?
Oh, yeah.
The pink balloon, would you like it up there? Upon our arrival to the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, we were given a tour of the building, which was larger than we anticipated. After the tour, we quickly started setting up all of our stationary equipment that we would leave running throughout the night. There were 4 investigators on this investigation, and we were joined once again by guest investigator Christopher. The absence of night vision cameras highlights how truly dark this facility is, as we left cameras and voice recorders in various rooms throughout the building. For example, we left cameras in a room believed to be inhabited by a young girl named Lily. We let the night vision video camera to run in a room believed to be the hangout of 2 male spirits known as Frank and Larry, and we left a camera, a voice recorder, and trigger items such as a balloon in a room known to be inhabited by another young girl known as Emily. After the setup of the equipment, we began our investigation of the numerous wings, hallways, and rooms in this imposing building. We also investigated in the large rooms where patient treatment and procedures were performed in an attempt to communicate with any entity that still may be lingering in these areas. And finally, we made our way to the top levels of the building to investigate in the long, dark hallways and rooms where patients are said to have attacked and killed a fellow patient in a very horrific manner. During our investigation, we had a night that was filled with unexplained noises, interesting flashlight sessions, and an overwhelming sense of not being alone in this ominous building. Once we started reviewing the audio and video footage that we took that night, we found that we had captured some evidence to support the assumption of paranormal activity within the walls of this former hospital for the insane. During the evening, we had asked the 2 staff members on site to come with us on a walkthrough of the building. As the only people inside of the building, we were all assembled in this first floor hallway discussing our equipment setup, when we all heard a loud scream coming from the other end of the hallway. We have no explanation as to what caused this scream, which was captured on multiple pieces of equipment.
We have a camera in the room.
What was that? What was that? I feel like that was a woman screaming.
That was a scream.
That was a woman screaming.
We have a camera in the room.
What was that? What was that? I feel like that was a woman screaming.
That was a scream.
That was a woman screaming.
We have a camera in the room.
What was that? What was that? I feel like that was a woman screaming.
That was a scream.
That was a woman screaming.
Another interesting piece of evidence is a video clip taken from a night vision camera sitting in the hallway outside of Lily's room. While we are inside of the room conducting an EVP session and all flashlights and light-emitting devices are off, the camera in the hallway captures a small light that appears in the middle of the hallway and then quickly vanishes. We have no explanation as to what would cause this light to just materialize in the middle of this hallway. As you watch, the brief column of light appears to be moving from right to left, and it simply exists within the middle of the hallway, rather than reflecting off of a wall or one of the doors. Another piece of audio that we captured that night was caught as we were walking towards a part of the building known to be inhabited by a male entity. One of the reported claims is that the entity likes to follow investigators through the area. While walking, Jenny asked the question, "What was his name again?" The response is a male voice saying what we believe is the name Jim, which is the name of the entity reported to haunt the area.
What was his name again? What was his name again? What was his name again?
The next 2 pieces of audio were both captured during the setup of equipment in Emily's room. After we had left the trigger items on the floor of the room, we left a video camera and a voice recorder as well. As we were leaving the room during setup, I mentioned that we had left a pink glow-in-the-dark ball. The recorders that we left in the room captured a whisper in response.
Pink glow-in-the-dark ball, yes. Is it a wiggle for a minute?
Yeah.
Pink glow-in-the-dark ball, yes. Is it a wiggle for a minute?
Yeah.
Pink glow-in-the-dark ball, yes. Is it a wiggle for a minute?
Yeah.
Additionally, after all investigators had left the room, I spoke back into the room stating that we were going to go for a little bit and leave Emily alone. Again, our recorders captured another whisper in response to that comment.
Alright, we're gonna let you play with that balloon for a little bit. We're gonna leave you alone, okay? But you feel free to play with that. Alright, we're gonna let you play with that balloon for a little bit. We're gonna leave you alone, okay? But you feel free to play with that. Alright, we're gonna let you play with that balloon for a little bit. We're gonna leave you alone, okay? But you feel free to play with that.
It seems that Emily was very interested in communicating with us that night, as we had an interesting flashlight session during our final visit to the room. We had asked the 2 staff members to walk with us during our final sweep, and we had a flashlight sitting on the windowsill as well as on the floor beside the pink glow-in-the-dark ball. We also had 2 EMF meters in the room, one on the windowsill by the flashlight and one on the floor next to the balloon. While the entire session lasted about 20 minutes, we have highlighted 3 clips from that encounter and will play all 3 in their entirety.
In here, I want to talk to you. If you're in here, Emily, can you touch one of the green lights or turn this flashlight, the black flashlight on in the window? Or move the balloon around?
That's so cool.
You've got to be kidding me right now. Crazy. Can you turn it off now? Turn it off for us, please. Go ahead and turn it off.
Can you turn it off all the way for me, please?
Thank
Oh.
you. Now, if you want, we can put that balloon for you in the window. Would you like us to do that so you can play with it up there, sweetie?
Yeah.
Okay,
She
you want it up there?
that's what she
Okay.
wants
Two,
All right.
okay, two's just
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Alright, baby.
We're gonna have to get her a bigger windowsill.
I don't think she can move it up there though, can she?
She said she
I wonder
wanted
if
it
she can
there.
knock it off.
Oh, did you see that? When I put it up here, it's spiking.
Yeah.
She's
You like
excited.
that?
Whoa.
I'm trying. You like your balloon up
There you
there?
go,
All right.
sweetheart. That's fun up there. Very nice.
That is so exciting.
You want to turn your flashlight on to let us know that you got it? You like it up there?
Or you just knock the balloon off.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. You are so fun. You're so cute.
Yeah. Balloon's moving, K2 and the flashlight.
All right.
That's crazy.
Do you say that she hangs out with, or that she may interact with the other ones?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Lily comes up here a lot.
Yeah.
And probably to play with the other
The
kids.
bright,
too.
yeah, they just got brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's real bright, Emily.
Can you turn it off
Can you
one
turn it off
time?
for us? Can you turn off the flashlight?
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank
A little bit. I think she's
Tired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
Okay,
okay.
sweetie, we'll leave you alone now.
You want us to leave?
Turn the flashlight on and we'll leave. Let us know that that's what you want us to do. Do you want?
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank
But
you.
thank you for letting us play.
Yeah, right here on the floor.
Just turn on.
On the floor, the flashlight on the floor.
Oh, you're turning on the one on the flashlight on the floor too?
Will you turn the windowsill light off so we can see that light up? Emily, will you please turn this light off all the way for me?
I'm still watching, see if I have to catch this balloon.
All the way. Please. For me.
Aw.
I'll bring you candy.
During our night at the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, we all had experiences that we cannot explain. We heard a scream coming from an unknown origin, and we interacted with the playful spirit of a young child. During its operation, the building housed, among other things, centers for the elderly, patients with dementia and Alzheimer's, patients with tuberculosis, court-ordered criminally insane individuals, a morgue, treatment and procedure rooms, and an autopsy room. Although the building was built to humanely care for the mentally ill, its evolution over time moved from care to containment, and its walls bore witness to the deterioration from healthcare to horrific acts of violence. While the entire facility closed in 1994, it seems that the spirit of men, women, and children continue to roam the halls and rooms of this massive structure, perhaps in death seeking the comfort that was denied to them in life.